You know, you're not paranoid if someone's really after you, and that's exactly what's happening in my life right now because of a comment I made on the previous episode of Voca Vacay. I'm convinced that Google and Microsoft and Facebook and the United States government and people in Ireland are out to get me. I turned to my long-suffering wife, Marie. Would you testify against me in court, or would you stand by my side?
No way, man. Stand by your man.
There you go.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Thank you very
Going
much.
down with you.
I appreciate that.
To the end.
Because it's really your fault.
Oh, well, then,
It's totally your fault. Now, here's what happened.
I don't doubt that, being a redheaded Irish person.
It's
Irish
because
woman.
we were doing a show about the land of your peoples. Here's what happened. On the previous episode of Voca Vacay, we were talking, we started off by talking about Titanic.
Yeah.
And, and it ties into the episode. Go listen to it on the website. It's great. But what happened is we started off talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. At the end of Titanic, he said, Rose, and he sunk to the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean. And you and I had a bit of a discussion about would you sink or would you float? And I thought you would float.
It was cinematic.
Yeah, and I thought it's a big cheat and he's a liar and a huckster because he should have floated. So here, the end result is we had to know. We had to know the truth on this. So I got on Google. I typed in, would a dead body float or sink in the water?
And now they're going to take you away. Ha ha! They're going to take you away. Hee hee.
There's sirens going. There's lights going off. The bulletins.
To the funny farm.
Everything is going on right now because I had to know the truth. And you want to know the answer?
When they lock you up, I'm sure I'll hear all about it.
Here, I'll give you the answer right now, my sweet.
Okay.
It turns out if you will float or sink, if you are basically go overboard and you drown in the Atlantic Ocean, the answer is maybe.
Oh, well.
No, seriously, that's it.
That tells our listeners nothing.
It told me nothing. I'm the one at risk of going to prison now. Here's the deal. It depends on, because the density of the human body and the density of salt water, it's actually very close. It's similar. So it depends on if you're wearing clothing, what your body fat percentage is, the temperature of the water, the salinity of the water. It's all these factors which answered nothing for me.
Fat don't sink.
I'll be fine. So as it happens, we're going to plow forward with no apology to Leonardo DiCaprio. I still think he should have floated. So no apology there, no apology necessary, but we are moving on with our part 4 of our 4-part episode series about Ireland, and this time we're talking about Dublin.
Dublin.
Lubbly Dublin is the name of this. We'll get to it. That's Marie over there.
That's Frank.
Voca Vacay starts right now.
Prepare yourself for the bestest, amazingest, and overall super-duperest travel program in the history of ever. Vacation like it's your job and live vicariously through yourself. It's time now for Voca Vacay.
Every single episode, we start with a shout out. Shout out to our newest, bestest buddies in our global media ever-expanding empire. We have 4 new countries that have joined our party.
Hey, I like making new friends.
So do I. Oh, I got friends all over. Very cool. We're huge in Honduras.
OMG.
Absolutely true.
That is so wow.
Honduras, hey, how's it going? Good to see you.
Guys.
Japan.
Hey.
We're big there. Nice.
I've always wanted to go.
We've got to go. We do. The United Arab Emirates, or as we call it, the UAE.
UAE, shout out.
Got listeners there. And of course, on the Horn of Africa, Djibouti.
I have nothing to say about that.
DJIBOUTI, so by Ethiopia.
I love how it sounds. I don't even know what to say.
You want to say Djibouti-licious, don't you?
It's Djibouti-licious.
That's the country we're talking about. But hey, anyway, all jokes aside, thanks for playing along with us. Glad to have you with us.
That's very cool.
Because we've got listeners all over the place. And hey, in a perfect world, post-COVID, we want to travel and see every single one of you in every single one of these countries.
Who knew that we'd have listeners in Djibouti?
Yeah, and Honduras, Japan, and United Arab Emirates.
It's so cool, guys.
I know. So
thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for playing along because we're glad to have you, especially as we're wrapping up our 4-part Ireland series. Bit of a background here. We have taught, we teach at university settings, and we've taken study abroads to where we basically take students to another country, and Ireland is so accessible and they speak English. It's user friendly.
Yeah.
And we said, we got to go there.
And they're my peoples.
And they're your peoples.
It's the last show I get to say that. These are my peoples.
So it all works out. And here's the thing. Let's go ahead because the other parts of this series, we talked about various parts of Ireland. Now we're going to focus on Dublin proper.
Give me the deets.
Darn right. We got a lot of deets about Dublin because here's the deal. If you're going to...
all those Dublin deets. All those Dublin deets.
Odds are you're going to fly into Dublin. A couple of statistics about this just to set the tone.
Yes, please.
There's about 2 million people in Dublin. I did not know there were that many.
I had no idea.
Doesn't feel like it.
No, because it's like we were talking about this earlier. it's just so like easy going and so much more like it feels like casual.
Yeah.
It's not like when you think of all of the people in New York City Times Square.
Yeah.
Which is like way more ramped up.
Yeah, it's not like the pressure. It's amped up. That's what exactly right. Not ramped up, amped up, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
No.
Yeah.
But they both apply because here's the deal. It's just so... it's more accessible. It's
user-friendly.
More amenable. User-friendly. That's the phrase. Exactly right. So there's 2 million people there, and
it's casual.
Yeah. They're all really nice over there. The name Dublin means black pool. Dublin means black pool.
I had no idea.
It is a tidal pool near the confluence of 2 rivers.
Ooh, confluence.
The
That's
river.
a good crossword word.
Darn right it is. The river Liffey, which we'll talk about later on, and the river Poddle.
The Poddle.
So we will never speak of Poddle again. But where Poddle and the Liffey meet, guess what? They make a pool of water, a tidal pool. They called it a black pool. Ergo, Dublin.
Dublin.
Land of your
love
peoples.
it. Love it.
As far as economic news goes on this, it's a primary node in the global economic network. I have no idea what this means, but it has an alpha minus score, which puts it as one of the top 30 economically important cities on the planet.
That doesn't shock me because it's an important place.
Yeah.
I don't only say that because it's my people's, but just because like I can see that. Like it's like I don't know if you could really call it this, but it's one of the first cities you could land to get into Europe proper.
That's
so maybe
right.
Gateway to Europe. Like it seems very important to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right because flying to Dublin, I didn't know this, 50 different airlines service Dublin.
That's nuts.
22 North American cities. I guess that counts Canada and Mexico as well as United States, but most from the United States. 22 different North American cities have direct flights to Dublin from here.
What?
You can get there. Post-COVID, if you're looking for a place to go, Dublin, it's right there, and it's closer than any place else in Europe that you're going to go to.
Depending on where you're leaving from on the East Coast, it will only take you 6 to 8 hours of flight time.
Yeah.
It's like really accessible.
Yeah, you can't even, you might be able to get through the first 2 Lord of the Rings movies on the in-flight movie system before you're landing.
Like if you're itching to go do something post-COVID,
Yeah.
to get out of the States and like go travel somewhere,
Dublin.
go here. Like it's very easy.
Lubbly Dubley.
Lubbly Dubbly.
That's why we call it that. So we're going to talk about some of the things going on because there's a lot of museums. And seriously, there's literally stuff for everybody. I don't mean to overplay that, but there's tons of museums, tons of galleries. There's a big zoo, all sorts of culture.
I'm all about culture.
And even Trinity College is
Yes.
there, and that's been there forever.
And lots of really famous people in literature, art, history have gone to school there.
Yeah. Oscar Wilde, I think you mentioned.
Oscar Wilde, Samuel Beckett, they went there.
Yeah.
And they went there in 2 different centuries. But they are both alumni.
Alums, yeah. Alumni.
Whatever. But they both went
Graduates
there.
of, yeah.
Yeah. So, Oscar Wilde, novelist, playwright, Samuel Beckett, playwright. And so, and both of them also coincidentally spent a lot of time in France.
Oh, that's right.
So like Oscar Wilde, I've been to Oscar Wilde's grave in Père Lachaise in Paris. And so that was really something. It's really something to look at. Like, it's this big statue, and then there's all these like lipstick kisses all over it, where people have come and just kissed it. I know.
Wow.
But like Oscar Wilde, so like The Importance of Being Earnest and Portrait of Dorian Gray.
That's right.
And then Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot.
Another play, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so these are really like important. Just cultural and like artistic things that, a lot of really good stuff comes out of Trinity College and out of Dublin.
Yeah, they're icons. And speaking of Dublin, James Joyce, guy who wrote Ulysses.
MG.
I have tried to read Ulysses. I cannot get through it. It's too thick for my feeble little brain. I can't get through it. But so there's
another benchmark of something really great.
And another icon of Western literature.
Yes,
Seriously,
exactly.
These guys are up there. So what has happened is that, and leave it to the Irish to do this. Okay, it's a bad stereotype, but hear me out because this is so apropos. What happens? They are honored in Ireland with pub crawls.
Yes.
So you will
have a pint and read some good stuff.
So you'll have a pint and salute James Joyce. You'll talk about that. There's a statue of the guy there. And then you'll crawl to another pub and go, and now we learn about Oscar Wilde. And there's a statue of that guy too. And you just go down the line. And there's a lot of literary figures right there in Dublin who've been associated with it in one way or another.
I just like how it gives you something to do while you're drinking.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea for a tourist attraction.
You would never be mad at me. It's like, I'm going to the pub. It's like, oh, you're going to get drunk. It's like, no, I'm learning about about Samuel Beckett tonight, my dear.
I'm becoming learned.
Boom. I'm a learned guy. So you can see that. So they've had a big impact. There are statues of Joyce and Molly Malone, who was not a literary figure. Apparently in the 1600s, she was a fishmonger by day and a lady of the night by night.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Lots of Irish songs about her.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool.
And just random, there's another statue called Hags with Bags, which is one of those fun little things. It's two, I guess these are cast in bronze. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're, permanent statues. And it's two middle-aged, elderly type women sitting on a bench, and they have shopping bags next to them. And so what you do is you go sit down with them, and someone takes your picture, and then everybody else shouts out, "Tourist," because that's exactly what you just revealed yourself to be.
Well, that's all right. It's still cool looking. I'll take the chance.
It's worth going to Dublin, but we've got to talk about all the things you can do there.
All the things you can do, and where you can stay.
Give me the deets.
We got some deets.
We know a lot about where to stay because we've stayed in 3 different levels of places.
Yeah, like high end, middle of the road, and all the way, less expensive options, which are the hostels.
Yes.
We've done all of those.
Yes.
Okay, which one do you want to start at, the high or the middle or the low?
Let's start with the hostels.
Okay, yeah. The hostels, there were a couple that we went to.
There's a lot of hostels all around.
Yes.
And so the further away from Temple Bar, which is across the river, just right over, there's several bridges that just take you across the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots over there, but the further away you get from Temple Bar, the cheaper they become.
Yeah, and let's talk very quickly. Temple Bar, it's like, think of Bourbon Street, New Orleans type place. It's it's a beehive of activity. Yeah. There's a lot of nightlife going on. So a lot of people are going to go there at night. So that is just south of the River Liffey, which bisects the entire city.
Exactly.
So if you're close to Temple Bar,
and
we were, you are going to pay a little bit higher than a hostel that's further away.
And that's okay. It's actually not that big of a difference, but some people are really, really on a budget.
Yeah.
And so the one we stayed at that was one of the first times that we ever went to Dublin was across the river, and it was Abraham's Hostel.
Yes.
And the really cool thing about Abraham's Hostel was there was a pub that we went to that was right down the street from it. Literally just a few buildings down, called O'Shea's.
Oh, yes.
And it was really, really cool. That's Talbot Street right there.
Right.
And so you just, you stay in the hostel. The hostel had great breakfast. They had great rooms. It was nice and clean. And you can get private rooms, or you can buy a bunk in a
shared mixed dorm
room.
type room. Yeah.
But anyway, the bar that we went to, they had that was one of the places where you could do karaoke. And they also had live music, and they played Country Roads Take Me Home, and I didn't even have to ask them.
Every place we go to, Country Roads, we've heard Country Roads Take Me Home on so many different continents and so many different countries, and that's her theme song.
It's just a favorite of many people.
I know, especially in West Virginia.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Where I'm from.
But but it was a very nice hostel.
It was very nice, and O'Shea's was great.
Yeah, perfect stuff.
Great place to hang out. Now, then the other hostel that we stayed at was back in Temple Bar.
Right.
So we've had 2 different hostel experiences. We've had hostel experiences. Not really, but you know what I mean. So this was Abigail's, and it's probably one of the most well-known and most popular.
It was bigger.
It was bigger.
It seems like it processed a lot more foot traffic there.
Yes. And it, again, same options, private rooms, shared rooms, whatever. But it is right there proper in Temple Bar, and it is very accessible to everything that everyone comes to Dublin for.
Yeah. And it's literally walking distance. And again, Dublin is a very walkable town. I don't remember if we ever took cabs or anything like that. I mean, you can get around, and if you want to go farther afield, there's plenty of options, but you can definitely get anywhere. And if you want to be by Temple Bar, hey, look at a map. It's right there. You'll find a place to stay right next to it.
Yeah.
So we like that.
So when we weren't staying in hostels, we stayed in an Airbnb one year, and that was pretty cool because it was, hey, look, let me just say, the Airbnb experience was great. And the little flat that we got was great.
It was lovely.
It came with a rooftop terrace.
It was great.
And it was all ours.
Yeah.
And it was a proper flat. It was kitchen, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, living area.
Overlooking Temple Bar. Temple Bar. It was great.
Oh my God. You could not have asked for a better flat in all of Dublin, in my opinion.
However, let's recap this experience briefly, shall we?
Now, this is just our experience. Yeah. But it is a funny story.
Yeah. What happened is we went because the kids went home basically, and we stayed there for an extra day or 2 of recon because we're planning next year's study abroad trip.
And we were shooting a documentary.
And we're working, so it's okay, so we said we're not going to be in the hostel, we'll be in the Airbnb, everything is good. Turns out, and I don't make this up, as it happens, the guy had a voluminous literary collection.
There was lots to read. The place was really pristine and nice and clean and amazing.
And this guy read books.
And he had good style. Like when I walked in, I was like, oh, this place is nice. Yeah. And then we started going through the books.
Yeah.
He really liked to read.
Yeah. He really liked to read things of a certain genre.
It was.
All of which had to do with serial killers.
So I start losing my mind.
I'm not kidding.
I'm like, honey, I start stacking up the books. I'm like, look at all of these. There's like 50 books here on serial killers. I was like, when we go to bed tonight, should I be concerned?
Absolutely not, my dear. I'll protect you.
Oh, yeah. To which, when we do go to bed, someone properly just goes right to sleep.
Yes, I do.
I'm up all night freaking out. Like, should I be concerned?
She has a knife. No, let me explain. She has a knife under the pillow. That's going to do you a lot of good. Yeah. So she gets a little kitchen knife, which is like a 3-inch blade. Okay, it's under the pillow in case someone comes with me with a loaf of bread. I'll stab the bread. That's all that's good for.
I'll make a sandwich.
She took a picture and posted it. I think you said to your friends, put it on Facebook, of all the books. She pulled books off the shelf, stood them up, and it's like,
if anything happens, this is why.
We're here. Don't forget us. Avenge me. And
I was kidding.
But the books were literally titled things like famous serial killers, killing in England. Yeah, it's like every
How to get away with murder.
This guy had, it's not, put the body in the ocean, will it float or not? He had the whole dissertation on this.
I love how this ties into your whole dilemma.
It does. So apparently I'm the bad guy because when I see a bed, there's a pillow and it's like time to sleep. I just go to bed. I don't stay up all night panicking going, someone's going to come to Airbnb and I'm going to stick him. I'll stick him. I tells you, hey, no, you're not.
I'm Irish. So I'm going to fight you. I'll fight you with anything I got.
I slept like a baby.
It's just like that meme or that like little comic like that you see going around. That's like, it shows the dog and it's like, making noise breaking in through a window, somebody breaking in through the door, somebody knocking or slamming something. Dog is just laying there completely out. You open a bag of chips, dog completely snaps awake.
Yeah.
If I would have brought a pizza into the bed, you would have been like, oh, I'm up.
You want to wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning? Break in the door. No. Break a window. No. Open a bag of Doritos. Bam, I'm out of bed. Every single time I will do that. It's like, I don't even have to smell the Doritos. Just go, I hear that sound. It's like, I'm on right now.
You're not fat. You're well-rounded.
No, I am well-rested. There's a difference. Okay.
I did not sleep well.
We did sleep. You did sleep better when we got a hotel proper.
Oh, so anyway, that was actually, so to wrap it up, the Airbnb was fabulous actually, and it was very accessible to everything, and we loved it there. That was just the funny thing about it. But anyway, so then when we went back the next year, we stayed in a hotel.
Yes.
And it was lovely. Mm-hmm. It was across the river.
Yes.
And it was the Morrison. It's a DoubleTree hotel by Hilton.
Okay.
So it was a name brand, but it was a boutique of the name brand. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of boutique hotels in Dublin. So just look for them because they are really nice. And our room was so interesting.
It was.
It had like design elements and it was like fashionable and like really cool. And
that's
like,
so cool.
It was chic and kind of like kitschy and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we loved that. But the cool thing about it was that we went down and had drinks in the bar, and the bar is Quay 14. They have cocktails of the month. I don't remember what we ordered, but they have everything. They have like Irish coffee, espresso martinis, a variety of whiskeys, but we loved going down there and just having drinks. And we had drinks with our friends from Dublin, Connor and Siobhan, who we were shooting the documentary on.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it was a really good hotel. The rooms were, just so cool. I felt cool staying there.
Yeah.
So I really recommend the Morrison. And it was like the rates were good.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and hit up that bar because it was worth it. It was good craft cocktail service.
To the Quay.
Oh, yeah.
We love that.
Oh, I just love it. You know how I love it.
Which way is the bar?
Well, the bar, as it turns out, you can't find, but we'll get to food and drink proper later on this part because we got a whole smorgasbord of activities to tell you about.
Smorgasbord.
First, let's when you're going around, we keep telling you about it's on the other side of the river. The River Liffey, it goes east-west right through Dublin.
Yeah.
But you have to get across it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this word wrong, then you're going to say it correctly.
Oh, I probably will
because
correct
it's spelled Haypenny Bridge.
That's not right.
It's H-A, one of those little marks, then Penny Bridge.
It's Hackney.
Hackney. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Hackney Bridge.
I don't blend it all here.
When you explain it and then you say it again and then I say it, it'll make more sense the way I say it.
Got it. Okay, here's the history. And when we're talking about going over the River Liffey, this is the bridge. There's a number of bridges. This is the most famous one.
Yes.
This is like the iconic, it's the bridge. If you ever see pictures of, hey, look, there's a bridge in Dublin, that's the one.
Right.
That's the one you're looking at.
Yeah.
It turns out that it was built over the River Liffey. Before that, let's start the early 1800s. There's a guy named William Walsh. Bill to his friends.
Aye.
William Walsh, he operated 7 ferries in early 1800s, and they would shuttle you back and forth across the River Liffey.
Cool.
You want to go from one side to the other, you had to take one of his ferries. Problem is the boats were not in good shape.
Oh, yeah.
The boats were kind of falling apart. So the city said, hey, tell you what, William, you either fix these or you build a bridge.
Oh.
To which he said, okay, I'll build a bridge for you. He built, at the time it's called the Wellington Bridge after the Duke of Wellington.
Oh.
He built this in 1816. Now, here, pay attention to how smart this guy is. He had charged a half penny, so the half penny toll to get on the bridge or on the ferry. He said, tell you what, I will do this, but I still want to collect my toll.
Sure.
So he builds the bridge one time, and they said, okay, we'll let you have a half penny for each person that crosses for the next 100 years.
What a deal.
100. He got a 100-year lease on this. Are you kidding me?
That's the smartest man in all of Dublin.
For a time, it went to 1.5 pennies, and basically the toll was removed in 1919.
Wow.
So for 100 years, his descendants, his family, are just raking in cash every day.
Heck yeah.
People are across the bridge. A lot of people live there. So they renovated this sucker in 2001.
Okay.
And in 2012, what happens that when people travel, when people are tourists,
and they're in Rub.
They get little padlocks and they put them on bridges, and then they throw the key in the river so it can never come off.
We've done this several times in several places.
We totally did this on the Hackney Bridge.
We did.
We did do this, knowing they were going to be removed, because in 2012, Dublin City Council said, hey, can you guys stop putting the locks on? Really, there's a lot, and we're going to take them off. And it's like, okay, so they took
removed all the love locks. Yeah.
And then
they're doing that everywhere else too.
Yeah, but then in 2013, they're like, really, guys, can you stop? And they pulled off another 660 pounds of locks. People keep doing it. They're going to, I know, but it's like, come on, it's a sweet little thing to do. We've done it in a couple of different places. I'm sure our locks have been taken down.
Oh, I'm sure. But no, like there are some places where people were doing that on the bridges, and then they just built like sculptures.
Yeah.
And they told people to just do them there.
Yes.
And those will still stand.
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah, but no, so it's the half penny is what you needed to get across, right?
Yeah, yes.
So Hackney sounds nothing like half penny sounds like Hackney. Half penny sounds nothing like hey penny.
Hey penny.
Hackney.
Hey penny. The Hackney Bridge. 100 years he's collecting the toll.
That's a smart fella.
Good on you, William Walsh. Okay, so let's say, you start in Temple Bar, you're leaving Temple Bar, and let's say you're going north, because now you cross the Hackney Bridge.
You do.
And you're going to one of the big iconic landmarks of Dublin.
Give me the deets.
The deets are the Spire of Dublin, and you can see this from anywhere.
Just say, if you get lost from anyone, anytime, in Dublin, and all of Dublin, just meet me at the Spire.
Yeah.
If we get lost, I'll find you at the Spire.
Yeah, it's like, find me at the Spire at this time, and we will connect. Here's how this works.
It's like Epcot Center.
Yeah, it is. You can see that literally. I mean, Dublin it's not exactly mountainous or anything.
Yeah.
All right. And the Spire of Dublin, they also call it the Monument of Light. We have some other names for it. But
I love these names.
Before we get that, it is 300, it's almost 400 feet tall, 120 meters.
Yeah.
It's 10 feet across at the base, and it tapers to 6 inches at the top. So it looks like a big needle, basically.
Right.
Okay. It is made of stainless steel cone sections. There's 8 of them that are fixed to one or the other. So basically, imagine the biggest inverted ice cream cone made out of, and it's a glistening steel thing.
Yeah.
Looks gorgeous.
Tell them the names.
The Spire of Dublin, the Monument of Light.
Okay.
And then we have the Spike, the Rod to God.
That's my favorite.
The Nail in the Pail, Stiletto in the Ghetto, the Pin in the Bin, the Spire in the Mire, Or my favorite, the Stiffy by the Liffey. It's just this vertical
That's great.
thing going straight up for 400 feet.
I love it.
And it's just this big stainless steel. That's what it, because the first time you'll see it, be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's where that goes.
We were like, what is that?
And when you ask people, no one says, oh, that is the Spire of London, also called the Monument of Light. No, they go, that's the Rod to God.
Like they do in other places. They take things very seriously. Like you just said
What?
in London, it's like, here are the things that are very important to see. And then like here, they're just like, it's the Rod to God.
The Stiffy by the Liffey. You be looking for the pin in the bin.
I love it.
So I'm like, okay, well, we can do that. By the way, it's not going to fall over. They have internal dampening systems in there. We looked this up, so it counteracts swaying. But the thing is, they started this in December of 2002. They finished the next month.
Yeah.
This is an area, by the way, a lot of pedestrians go there.
It is very heavily pedestrianated.
But, good word. But here's the deal. It's not a certified pedestrian roped off sidewalk. There's traffic.
There's a lot of places that are roped off and certified, and they're closed down to to cars and stuff.
Not the Rod to God.
No.
The Rod to God, basically, you can stand next to it and people doing their crossing the street. But here's the deal. The street, it's a major interchange. There's cars whipping back and forth. There's trains, there's trolleys, there's trams, all sorts of stuff. So don't think like, I'm going to go stand by the Rod to God. Can you get a photo of me? Dude, it's no. One, you're not going to get the whole thing in the picture because it's 400 feet tall, Gomer. The other thing is, be very, very careful when you're walking around because there's not a lot of wiggle room there. These cars are right next to you.
And you're already discombobulated because you're used to looking for the traffic coming from a certain way if you're not from there because the traffic runs in the opposite direction.
Right.
So you're looking like, to the right. You should be looking to the left. Yeah. It's like you need to pay attention here.
Yeah. So you're going to think, oh, it's going to come this way. It's like, no, they're driving the opposite way here.
And I love how in Dublin, speaking of which, when you look down at every crossing,
they're so kind.
They put an arrow. This is spray painted on every corner of every street.
Yes.
Look this way. For all of the American and Western and everywhere else in the world tourists.
Where's the cars coming from?
I know. And I'm like, oh, that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Because, I'm always going to look. It's like, oh, there was the car. And it's happened more than once, even to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm astute. No, I'm not. Okay, so you have that. So you have the Rod to God.
Yeah.
That is a big structure.
Yeah.
Another big structure over there, which is really cool, and you need to go see it. It's basically a stadium.
Give me the deets.
The deets? You want the deets?
I want some deets on this.
You want the deets on Croke Park?
Yes, I love it.
Europe's third biggest stadium, more than 80,000 people. That's the capacity, but then it's like, and 92,000 people were here for one event. It's like, where'd you put the other people? Were they just like hanging out in standing room only? I don't know.
So we teased this in our previous episode in part 3 of our 4-part series.
If you are watching us on YouTube, and you should. We have a Hurley right here on the table in front of us. A Hurley, this is what they use for hurling.
I called it a hurling stick. It has an actual name.
A Hurley.
It's a Hurley.
It's probably a hurling stick, but everybody just calls it a Hurley over there.
Yeah.
It's a Hurley.
Yeah.
Imagine a hockey stick, but shorter if you're not seeing us. And it's made out of wood.
Yeah.
And it has sort of like a handle at the end so your hand doesn't slip off of it.
Right.
And this is what they use for hurling, which is the sport of Ireland.
It's flattened at the end with a wider part at the other end so that you can scoop up the Hurley, the ball.
Yeah.
No, the Hurley's the stick. What's the ball? The ball.
I think it's also Hurley.
It's just, whatever. So you scoop that up. You can take so many steps while you keep it on the stick, like while you're bouncing it.
Yeah.
Then you can bounce it up and then you can flap it down the field to another player or you can flap it into to make a goal or whatever. But man, you got to be careful because the if you look at the sport, it's, what do we say? It was kind of like rugby.
It's like rugby
hockey,
and field hockey and traditional soccer and football. It's everything carved into one, and you're walking around with these sticks, and you're trying to just swing these as hard as you can.
And so you're in these formations, and you're doing these like drills, like you're in your practice, and you're going against a team, and you can get literally just walloped.
Yes.
So it's a sport that it takes a lot of I don't know. You've got to be a big dude, and also you got to be able to take. You got to be able to take a hit. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've met some people who played hurling.
Yeah.
On a pretty high level.
Yeah.
And these people who are athletic, they're in shape. They look like they can run nonstop for a couple of miles.
Yeah.
But they also got some muscle on them. They're not like little marathon type people. It's like, no, these people are.
Yeah.
They've got not a whole lot of body fat, but they can definitely move around.
We met one of the preeminent female players.
Yes.
They call it something different.
Yeah.
It's hurling, but for the female version, they call it...
I want to say it's like crokinole or something like that.
Right. It sounds something... I know. I was thinking crokinole too. And that's not it at all. That's freaking Canadian. But anyway, we'll put a link.
Well, yeah, we're going to put a website link to the Croke Park for the Gaelic Athletic Association.
Yes.
So you can do all the research on these. This stuff is fascinating.
Because at the GAA, the girl that we met is actually in there.
Yeah.
And she has like a whole kiosk with her play, which was one of the best plays for all of women's, whatever they call the women's part of her, or, side of hurling.
Right.
And so we met her, and that was super cool.
Yeah.
And then we met one of the guys that was like
and he
playing
was a coach
at the time, and he was a coach. Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
So go look at that museum in Croke Park.
And the thing is, when you go, you can do the Croke Park Stadium tour, and here's what you get. You can go up top of this thing, and you can walk around the top of the stadium. Remember, this is a large stadium, and it's overlooking all of Dublin.
Yeah.
So you'll go through, and they'll say like, oh yeah, and over there, this is where this happened. And you have literally a bird's eye view of all of Dublin.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So make sure to go there. And the thing is that for the longest time, they did not want any other sports that were non-Gaelic sports played there.
I love it.
There have been concerts there, big people like Taylor Swift, U2, Elton John type people, that level. They've played there before.
Yeah.
And then you have U.S. football. I think we're there like Penn State was playing somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they said, no, that's fine because no one's going to confuse American football for what we do over here. So
Right.
it's kind of like a non-compete clause, but they don't want certain sports played there because no, that's for the hurling. That's the pitch where we play hurling.
And they also have some concerts there. So they do stuff like that. But I mean, because it's a venue.
Yeah.
But man, take that tour. They'll take you all around. You'll get to go on the very, very top. They'll put you in like a harness and you'll get to walk out over everything.
Yep.
It is really cool.
Yeah, if you got vertigo, just be warned. If you got vertigo, you get a little bit nervous. And if you go on a day that's windy or rainy, because we went on a windy and rainy day once, it's like, make sure there's a jacket because there's no protection up there.
Yeah.
So that being said, there's lots of cool stuff to do, but now starting to drool here.
I'm getting kind of hungry.
We got to talk about all the great places with which to eat and drink.
You're not fat, you're well-rounded.
Where to begin?
Where? What else is there to do in a place like Dublin?
I do not know. Is there food, perhaps?
You got to eat the eats and drink the drinks.
You got to get a feed. Remember, the Irish say get a feed.
All right, I have the comprehensive guide to eating in Dublin.
Take notes. These things are all certified they're Voca Vacay certified, which means if we went there to eat, they're worth your time.
If we're mentioning them now, they've made an impression.
Absolutely. What do you got?
All right, so let's just say that you're out and you're like, I just need something quick.
Right.
I need like a quick bite.
Yes.
Okay, we mentioned in a previous episode, you can go to your Spire. You can go to Tesco. You can grab something quick. Really good.
Yeah.
Go to Fallon and Burn.
Yes.
They have a takeout little section and they have a food hall where you can sit down, but they have literally a million cheeses, a million deli meats. And it is some posh stuff. It is really, really good stuff. So it's a little fancy for takeout, but they'll make you a fancy like sandwich or something.
They will also do grocery delivery. That's something they're known for. So if you're in the hostel or the hotel room, it's like, I want this. They'll bring you whatever you want.
Now this is near Stag's Head, the bar that we frequented. And so I don't know if you want to talk about that right now or if you want to talk about that later.
Let's talk food first and then drink.
We'll come back around to that.
Oh yeah, but hey, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about booze in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So that's a really great place to just run in and get something, but get something, a little more fancy than just, running in and getting a pre-made grocery store sandwich.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. So there's also a little area called St. Stephen's Green.
Okay.
And there's St. Stephen's Green Shopping Center.
All right.
And so sometimes food trucks will come and just set up shop in the shopping center. You can go and you can grab something from one of the food trucks and you can go down to St. Stephen's Green, which is this beautiful green, lovely park area, and just have a sit, have a feed, and it's lovely and amazing. It's just like, a little pond and like all kinds of ducks and like greenery, and just lots of people go there and just have a nosh during lunch or whatever.
Yeah. It's a really accessible place. Just like, we're going to get some food and go eat. And a lot of people do this.
Yeah.
Very interactive out there.
All right. If you want something a little more fancy, and let's talk brunch because brunch is really important in Ireland.
I love brunch.
Because everyone's up drinking all night.
There you go.
You got to get your drink on and then you got to get your food on. No one's waking up before 6 a.m. In fact, they're going to bed just right before it.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to hit brunch, you get a few winks, you get up, you're like, I'm hungry. I got to get all this alcohol out of my belly.
Yeah.
There are 2 brunch places that we went to that were fantastic. One of them was a little fancy. And it was a French bistro, and it was called Le Gouleton. And they had the best brunch. They do their brunch eggs on or eggs off. So that's how they did their menu. And so I recommend the Jane Russell's brunch, which I believe I had.
Yes.
It's the black pudding, portobello mushroom, eggs, potatoes, sausages. It's a proper Irish breakfast.
It is good
with
stuff.
the portobello mushroom. I mean, that's not usually on an Irish breakfast, but I like the fanciness of that.
Yeah.
So it's a little more fancy because it's French.
Sure.
Another place we went to was the Whitefire Grill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah,
blah, blah, blah.
This place. I can't even.
What?
They had so many different parts of the menu. There was like, the brunch, there was like the food, but then there was like the drink section where, because, hair of the dog, if you want to have like a cocktail the next day after drinking all night, then you might want to get something with a little alcohol and it take a little bit of the edge off.
Right.
Because you're up drinking all night. They had a Jack and Coke float.
Oh, yeah.
I've never, ever in my life. And so that is really cool. Then they had a sweets section.
Right.
I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
But there was because you love sweets.
Yes.
There is a sweets section for brunch. And they literally serve you chocolate fondue. Mm-hmm. And so it comes with like marshmallows.
Yes, it does.
And like all this stuff that you just dip in the fondue. It is so good.
It's yummy.
I got the Norwegian eggs Benny.
Okay.
And that came with salmon. And I am a really big sucker for eggs Benedict that's served with like smoked fish. I don't know why. It just calls to me and I love it. And that was fantastic.
Yes.
And you got the crab cake Benedict and it came with those 2 properly done like real whole head shrimps.
Yes.
And those were fantastic.
Yes.
So this was a great place for brunch.
Yeah. People think about Dublin. It's like, we're going to do these things. It's like, guys, there's food there. And you can go from, street food all the way up to like really fine dining there.
Yes. All right. So let's say you just want like some quick bites.
Yeah.
There's a place called Salamanco, and it's near Trinity College. It's next to the Molly Malone statue. Mm-hmm. That's where we found they had the tapas that was divided into cold tapas, meat tapas, vegetarian, fish and shellfish tapas, and then they had a wine selection. And we got just like a quick bite there because we were over near Trinity College.
Right.
So that's just like some quick bites. There's also near Trinity College, though, this place called The Counter, and we sat down and ate there, and it was fantastic and lovely and amazing.
The Counter is one of these hamburger places where you go and you basically, and they say, what kind of burger do you want? How big do you want your burger? How do you want your burger cooked? What kind of cheese? We have a dozen. What kind of toppings? We have 40. What kind of, condiments? It's just you build a custom burger that whatever you want on, and they'll bring it to you, and it's so good.
I love the menu because they had like 14 different cheeses.
Yeah.
And then all these fixins.
Yeah.
And then you could just check off everything you wanted.
Yeah.
And they would just bring you like exactly how you ordered your burger.
A big old super burger.
I know they have counters in other places.
Yeah, I know there's one in LA and there's a couple scattered around, but yeah, that one just...
We had never been to one. No. That one was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so back to like a few more quick bites. There's Gino's, which is the crepes place that you loved so much.
Right.
And they also had gelato.
Yes.
And all day long, get the gelato and the crepes at Gino's.
Yes.
Now, I hope the stuff that we're talking about, some of these places haven't closed down because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So if they have, I'm sure there's something similar. You just Google it in Dublin. But if these places are still open, this is what we recommend.
Yeah, go represent.
Yeah. And then there's Cocobo, where you could go get a lot of chocolate. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate, you can make your own chocolate bars. So they give you all of these like things you can put in your chocolate, like chilies or
there's
like
different
caramel
nuts and like different fruits and all that.
Yes, like cranberry or whatever. And that was really good.
I made a good chocolate bar.
Let's talk Asian cuisine.
Yeah, and here's something that really flummoxed me because I didn't expect to have Asian cuisine of any good quality.
I know.
In Ireland?
It's so good.
Really? Tell them.
We went to a bunch of different places.
Yes, we did.
One place that we went to walking back from Croke Park was the Kimchi Chop House. Yeah. They do Korean and Japanese. We sat down. They're Dublin's oldest Korean restaurant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We happened to just see it.
Yeah.
The reason we saw it was because there's this really cool mural on the outside of the building.
Yeah.
On this very busy street walking back from Croke Park.
Right.
And so I was like, what's this? And then we sat down because we were hungry.
Yeah, we just walked in.
They have, of course, Kimchi Chop House would have amazing kimchi.
They do.
So we got some of that. They have dumplings and croquettes and sizzling beef plates, the bibimbap, udon noodle dishes, sushi, and poke bowls.
Go for the bibimbap.
I know. And we just got like a bunch of stuff and it was freaking amazing.
Yes.
So that was really good. There's also a little walk-in noodle bar that we went to.
Walk-in is spelled W-O-K, by the way.
Yes, walk-in. And it's on Lower Connell Street. You can like hit that up as you're going to see the Spire.
Yes.
And like crossing over the river. And like, it's just in a nice little thoroughfare with a bunch of little, like, there's all kinds of stuff there, like pizza and like all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that little noodle joint was the bomb.
Yes.
You just walk up and you're like, I want my noodles this way. They literally give you this like pint box of noodles.
Yeah, and they shove them in there.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's one of those things. You ever do this where you start eating noodles out of a box, you look down 5 minutes later, you've been eating for 5 minutes, it's like, dude, it doesn't look like you've taken a bite. It's so compacted in there.
Never-ending box of noodles.
Oh, that is one of my favorite things ever. Oh, and by the way, you talked about the place next to it. They have like pizza places where it's just like, oh yeah, look at all the pizza. And we're not going to mention those because there's dozens of them up and down the stretch.
You just get a slice.
Yeah, just get a slice. And they're big slices too. You see them from the window.
The bread is made really well. Like the dough is made really well because it's not like, they don't use a whole lot of flavor enhancers.
No.
And so it's real proper, like just oven baked, really nice dough with like good ingredients and then just really good toppings.
Right.
So yeah, you can find a lot of stuff there. Okay. Now, can I just say the Bauhaus? Mm-hmm. We went there and we had, because I am such a sucker for like anything that has to do with dumplings.
Right.
I love a proper dumpling.
Yes.
They have gyoza, they have edamame, seaweed salad. They also have kimchi, but OMG, the buns. OMG. Get the crispy confit Doug leg bao buns.
Good stuff.
They were so amazing.
They were.
I remember them to this day.
I know you do.
They also have rice bowls and noodle bowls.
Oh, yeah.
But go to the Bauhaus and you just get these beautiful, like just little buns of heaven.
Oh, little buns of heaven. That's going to be their motto from now on, by the way.
Yes.
Love it.
All right. The last Chinese or Asian cuisine that we had restaurant was M&L Chinese restaurant. Now, I loved the Bauhaus. I loved getting the buns and I love a proper dumpling. But this is a proper Chinese restaurant.
Okay, let me take over here for a hot second.
Yeah.
Okay, because we talk about authentic. I love it when I go into a place and I'm like, is this authentic? One, the menu's in Chinese.
Yeah.
Two, a lot of the people who are working there, as well as the patrons, are of Asian descent.
Right.
And when you walk in, I'm saying all that to say this. If your palate has not experienced hot Szechuan spicy food every day for your life, don't walk in there like it's the old West. Go, I'm here to have me the hottest dish you can make. You will cry.
Yes.
You will cry like a baby because I'm sitting there going, and they're like, you want spicy? I'm like, yes, I'll take spicy. Holy moly. It's so flavorful. I'm not saying the heat overwhelmed it.
No.
But they will give you a range. It's like, do you want regular, mild, or whatever? If you have any doubt at all, just go for regular or mild.
Yeah.
If you go for hot, make sure that you are predisposed to liking things like jalapenos or chilies or whatever, because they know how to get their spice on, and you better learn how to keep up.
I do like hot food.
You do.
And I can eat more hot. Okay. I can eat hotter things than you can.
You can, absolutely.
Yeah. Go here and order the Kung Pao chicken. Mm-hmm. And they will ask you how you want it. They legit just sliced up some dried red chilies and tossed my food in it. And I was just like, oh, yes, and oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
Because I loved it. I couldn't stop eating it.
Yeah.
My mouth was on fire.
Yeah.
But I was also addicted to eating it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. You can have hot. But if you have hot sans flavor, that doesn't count.
No.
You've got to have flavor
and they
with
nailed
your hot.
It. They nailed it.
Yes.
This is the one restaurant I think we went to every single time.
Yes.
And I think one trip we went back like 2 or 3 times during one trip.
Yes.
Because it was that good. It's like it's just a siren saying, you've got to go back and get this really authentic Szechuan experience. And we totally did it.
This Kung Pao chicken, it wasn't, like over here you get it, it's very saucy.
Yeah.
It wasn't very saucy.
No,
it
not
just
at all.
had, because it was made right.
Yes.
Like it was made authentic and it was so delicious. I ate the whole thing and I was like, I can't feel, my mouth was numb.
Right.
But it was the flavor was so good. Mm-hmm. Oh, you just got to do it.
M&L Szechuan Chinese restaurant.
Yes.
That's one you're looking for.
All right. The last 2 I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to be done with my food tour.
That's okay. We're going to talk about drinks in a second.
Yay. We ate at probably the fanciest restaurant that we went to in Dublin with our friends Connor and Siobhan.
Yeah.
Connor and Siobhan, they did a sandwich making experience. They're in marketing and design. And so they decided they were sick of some of the usual stuff around Dublin and in Ireland, and they wanted to push the envelope of food culture and cuisine in the area. And so they started making sandwiches out of their place, and just like their storefront was Twitter, and we did a documentary on them, and it was great.
It was artisan sandwiches, and it was a really interesting thing. We'll post the link on the website. It basically Killer Sandwich.
Yeah.
And was their program and what we named the documentary after.
Yeah.
But the program being basically they're making these artisan sandwiches by hand.
Yes.
And it was an interesting thing that you had to order on Twitter, and then they would meet you and all this stuff. And so it was just a really cool experience.
Yeah, and they're really tight with the food truck community. And we, some of the students that we took over did little shorts on them, on some of the food trucks, and we'll post some of that stuff too, because again, the food trucks are good.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, I'll just say we got to give a shout out to them, because when we talked about all these restaurants we went to, they turned us on to a lot of these. They're like, you have to go to M&L. You have to go here.
Right.
I mean, they were really setting us up.
Find a local that knows, that's a foodie.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they took us, and this was probably the best one of the best Italian restaurants I've ever been to. And it was in Dublin.
Yeah.
It's the Terra Madre Cafe. It's near the Hackney Bridge. It's across from Temple Bar. It's down. Remember, we had to walk down?
Yeah, tiny little place.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
And it is proper Italian. They get their Parmigiano Reggiano direct from Italy, from Reggiano cows.
Oh, wow.
They have Ascalana olives from Italy. They get their pasta brought in from Italy. They don't post a menu because it's all what they have from what they've been able to source.
Yeah.
And they bring it legit from Italy. We sat there with Connor and Siobhan, and we literally had just this table in the front. I think it was us and like one other party.
Yeah, one other couple
there.
I think was there.
And we ordered everything on that menu.
Yeah.
And we just did a tasting of this place, and it blew my socks off.
Yeah.
And we've been to Italy.
Yes.
Like it was
more than once. Yeah.
And it was just like being in Italy.
Yeah. And you're right on the River Liffey.
Oh my gosh.
It was good.
So good.
So look that place up.
Yeah. So there's that. And then the last one, we forgot to talk about, there was a little taco place. Do you remember the taco place?
Oh yeah.
What was the little taco place that we went to?
I can't remember the name of it.
Anyway, there's little places that have like tacos and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the fish and chips.
Yes.
So we did Leo Burdock's fish and chips, and that's in the Christchurch area near Christ Church Cathedral, which is very beautiful. And we went and we toured around in there. We walked around the grounds and went inside and looked, and it's very beautiful.
Yes.
But that was proper fish and chips in Dublin, and we know how you feel about fish and chips.
I love those chippers, the chipperies, and all the stuff that they make.
And that was our, our whole thing last time in part 3 of our 4-part series.
Yeah, talk about fish and chips, and this is a very good place as well.
Yeah, and so you want to hit up every fish and chips.
Yeah.
So this is just another one that we went to, but we recommend this. This was really good.
Okay, so we talked about all the food options.
Yum.
Well, we have... There's like a bazillion food options in Dublin. Go out, seek them out, talk to the locals.
Yes.
Don't find a chain. I mean, the one chain we went to was The Counter.
Yeah.
We didn't know it was a chain till we were in there. It's like, we got like a couple of, less than 10 stores worldwide. It's like, okay, well, it's not like McDonald's. So It's like, yeah, we can totally go to that.
Yeah.
But once we do all of these things, it's like, well, I'm feeling a little bit thirsty.
Which way is the bar?
Holy moly. Which way is the bar? Stand on any corner and point in any direction. You'll find one. There are 850 pubs in Dublin.
You don't go to find pubs in Dublin. Pubs find you.
That's right. Let's go through some of the history here, okay? Because there's 850 pubs in Dublin, which is just about the right amount, and you can find one that you like. Talk about one of the pubs first, Stag's Head.
Yes.
Let's talk about that because we went there several times.
I love Stag's Head.
And it is one of those where you walk in, and by the way, it's called that because there's like a big, this is me and what I know about taxidermy. And like there's a big deer. It's like a stag with antlers or horns on the side. Yeah, it's called Stag's Head. But you'll know it when you see it. This place has a long bar, has a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
You can get things like Jameson. You can get a pint of Guinness. You can get a pint of Smittix, whatever. It's a very good bar to go to because it's a good mix of international tourist people like us
and locals.
And the locals. It's a really good mix. So you go find someone who lives there.
There's a secret little sitting area in the back.
Oh, that's right.
That more of the locals know about than the tourists.
Yeah.
So venture on, go back.
Yeah.
And then take a gander and you might find a seat back there. And it's quaint, and the seats, like everything's quaint and cozy. And the seats are just really like, they're just like little velvet, like little snugs and like little things you sit on and little tables.
And you just tuck in there and you get yourself a Guinness and all is well for the world.
Yeah, it's very fantastic.
As you're doing this, let's talk about Guinness, particularly because the Guinness, basically when you're thinking about, hey, we're going to make some Guinness there, because Guinness, everybody thinks about having Guinness.
They do. When you go to Dublin, that's the thing you think you're going to drink.
Right. The Guinness Storehouse is at St. James Gate.
Yes.
It has been there since 1759.
Yes.
They have tours. You can go. In fact, if you go, what will happen is, and we're going to show this on YouTube real quick.
This is on our webcast.
Marie has actually done this. She has poured the perfect pint. I also poured the perfect pint there. They have a little class. It's like, here's how you do it. It is a process to do this. I lost my certificate at someplace else.
This is to certify that Marie Barnes has crafted the perfect pint of Guinness.
It takes 119.5 seconds to pour one.
Yes.
That's 2 minutes. It's just under 2 minutes.
Yes.
So the steps are as follows.
You got to get your glass. You got to tilt your glass.
Yes.
45 degrees.
Perfectly.
You got to pour. You got to pull to pour. And then you pour.
Yeah.
And then it settles.
Yes.
Now you got to wait for it to settle.
Yes, that's the secret. That's the trick right there.
Once it settles, you got to top up, and then that's the perfect pint.
That is I'm drooling over here just thinking about it. The thing about Guinness is that most beers are carbonated with carbon dioxide.
Right.
Guinness uses a mix of CO2 and nitrogen.
Woo-hoo.
So that's why it's a little bit smoother. The bubbles aren't as big or anything like that. But you have to have this 2-step process to do it.
Yeah.
You go in and basically you can take the tours. There's different levels of tours, whatever. We said we want to do the one, whatever one it is that has the perfect pint pouring lesson is the one for us.
Yes.
So you go into the storehouse, you sign up in advance. You can take the tour. I think it costs about $20 American.
Yeah.
And you just go in and you go through everything. And then at the end, you pour the perfect pint. We have photos of all of us who are pouring the perfect pint. And then you're basically at the gravity bar.
And you get to enjoy your work.
Yeah. And you're looking at this panoramic view of Dublin. You're 7 stories up. You have a proper pint, which you have poured, and now you get to enjoy it. It is an experience. So whether you're a beer aficionado or not, if you are, good for you. It's going to mean more to you. But if not, it's still fascinating stuff. And you learn about Guinness. It's just been around for so long, and it's such a big deal.
They take you through the whole process, and they show you like how they like do the grain, and then how they like toast it, and then they show you all the things. And then for someone like me who likes really hoppy stuff, more like IPAs, I still really enjoy the smooth, sort of like silky, like I love a Guinness.
Yeah, because it's a stout, I think.
Yeah, and it's darker. I usually don't do darker, but I do. There's just something about it that feels good when you drink it.
Yeah, and you have to pour it properly. The other beer in Dublin that that's also very famous out there. My personal favorite, Smittix.
I know, I love it. See, I do gravitate more toward a Smittix than a Guinness, but they're both really good.
Give me another Smittix.
So anyway, when we were over there, we were with some students, and they're of drinking age.
They were of drinking age. Don't throw rocks at us.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But we didn't like hang out and drink with them all the time.
No.
But we did take them on these tours.
Yeah.
So it was funny because some of them were already of age and have already had like drinks and beers and know a bit about it.
No big deal.
And they were like, oh yeah, and they like knew stuff, and they were like aficionados, like very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
But anyway. We were hanging out with a few of them. Should we just say shout out to Chris Elkins and Fondren, Evan Fondren?
Fondren and Elkins, this is for you.
Fondren and Elkins, this is for y'all. We came up with this little song, and now it is just a part of us.
Yes.
And it was based on a song I had heard before about someone singing about Pabst. And if they didn't get their Pabst, they were going to punch somebody in the face.
Right.
And so then it morphed from that into something else. But
we improved it.
And so it was just funny to say, like in the middle of anything, even if you weren't drinking, like you were just bored and everyone was quiet.
Yeah.
If you just started the song, it would be funny.
Yeah.
And it was like, give me another Smittix or I'll punch you in the face. Or it morphed into, give me another Smittix or I'll kick you in the arse. I mean, it was just really funny.
And the lyrics got more and more violent as we went through the night. And after a while, because remember, punch you in the face and kick you in the arse is how it started. That's how it started.
That's how it started.
And then it got a little bit more advanced than that. But we love Smithwick's is how it's spelled. Smittix is how it's pronounced. They've been a brewery since 1710. They've been around 400 something years.
That's some good stuff.
Good on them.
They have really good marketing too. Some of their commercials I looked at and they're really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to have a Smittix.
I do. I love Smittix.
I know. If you're not into beer so much, they do have the harder stuff over there. The old Jameson Distillery.
Yes.
Here's Jameson right here. Whoo, we got a bottle right there.
I poured my own bottle.
That's right. Jameson, it is a distillery. They have the tours for 25 euros. They have a master class for 60 euros.
Yes.
And Marie, you filled a bottle, and this was at the location down by Cork. It
Middleton.
Jameson Middleton, that's right.
Yeah.
And
they take you on the tour. You get to see all the stuff. At the end, they have you come up and try some things. And then you get to pour your own bottle from a cask that is like aged more and like older and like is like more like rare.
Yeah.
And you bring it back. And here's my advice on that. We brought the bottle back.
Yeah.
You drink your bottle. Drink it within the year.
Yes.
A lot of people have saved them. I actually had to look at this on the internet because I was looking at it, just checking it out. The cork, I could tell by looking through the glass up at the top.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something wrong because it looked like it was trying to come up.
Yeah.
And the cork was trying to break in half. And so the cork wasn't wet from where it's been sitting. And so I read people were like, if you get a bottle, drink it within the year.
Yes.
Because you don't want your cork to rot out and then your stuff to get air and then it like not be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't just get this and go, oh, it's a souvenir. It goes on the shelf. No, it's a beverage. Drink it. Because more importantly, let me explain something because I love my wife here. I'm like, you know what? We're going to go. There's this Irish Whiskey Academy thing. It's Jameson. It's all a big deal. And you get to pour. And it's like, okay. And they have a very nice guy there and he'll help you pour the bottle and all that stuff. The look on her face, you could not have loved a newborn baby more than you love that bottle. It's like, by the way, you get to do this. She's like, oh, really?
I was in tears.
Actual tears as she gives birth to this bottle of Jameson. It's like, oh. And it
was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, and then they cork it and they sign it and they seal it. You write your name in a book. It's like, I have officially, this is my bottle of Jameson now. There's a little code that goes with it. It's kind of a thing.
It is very cool. I literally did. It brought me to tears.
Yeah.
I was moved.
You're welcome.
So that's a really good experience.
Yeah.
And one of the best drinks you can ever make, and we learned this for the first time over there.
Okay.
Jameson and ginger.
That's right.
So good.
It is delicious.
It's so good.
I'm getting
I
thirsty.
love it.
Okay, so let's say that you're going to go to Dublin now. We've talked you into it. The food is good. The drink is good. The culture is good. Everything is good.
Yeah.
You got to get there.
You do.
So what you got to do is we've got to give you some details about how to do this.
Give me the deets.
We got your deets right here, buddy.
I got your deets right here.
You're going to go to the Dublin airport. We told you before that a lot of places will go there. Well, let's explain why this airport is a little bit cooler than others.
I love this airport.
So do I. And I don't love airports easily because
Right.
usually it's a hassle. It's like, oh, great,
Sure.
I'm in Minneapolis. But no, this one, really, Minneapolis, come on. But here's what happens with this airport over there. First, it is outside of town. Shuttles are dead simple, easy to get to.
Yeah.
The reason it's so nice is because it's only about €6 to go to Temple Bar to the airport or back. It's like $7 or $8. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's shuttles and that's just Temple Bar. You go everywhere in town and there's a shuttle service that will pick you up and get you to the airport.
Yeah.
So very well done by that. Here's the thing. So you go to Dublin, you eat, you drink, you get a good feed, you do all these great things. And then you say, I've got to leave. I've got to go. And this for the U.S. citizens. So I'm going back to the United States. This flipped my brain so hard the first time. I couldn't wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
They have a U.S. pre-clearance facility
Love
in Terminal 2.
It.
I didn't think I would actually love the U.S. federal government TSA guys as much as I do right now. Let's explain. It's really pretty wild because what you do is you'll check in and it's like, okay, you go down, and you check in again as if you're in America already.
I love it.
It is so wild. It allows U.S. bound passengers to undertake all your immigration, your customs, your agricultural inspections at the airport before you leave Dublin. This is just one of the handful of airports outside of North America that actually does this.
Because everyone knows what a freaking headache it is.
Yeah.
To go through customs when you get back. And we're super lucky because we're pre-global entry.
Yeah, we're pre-global. They wave us through. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I look at those lines, though, and I feel bad for people.
Oh, so do I. I've been in those lines before we got the passes, but I've been in those lines, and it's just heartbreaking. And then people, look, you're tired or you're anxious or you've got to do whatever. Here's the deal. The benefit of this is that once you go through the customs over there, when you arrive in a busy airport, let's talk Atlanta or someplace like that. When you land at Atlanta, which is a massively huge airport, oh my goodness.
It's so big.
You walk past the line.
Yes.
Basically, you pick up your bags at luggage and you just walk away.
Leave.
So everybody else is going through immigration. Everybody else is going through customs. Everybody else is doing that. You did that back in Ireland.
I love that it's just, let's get it done. Get her done.
Yeah. So you can do that and they will check your bags. It's like, well, I'm going to Atlanta and then connecting somewhere else. I'm going to wind up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They'll check your baggage all the way through to it. You just have to walk through this one thing in Ireland. And promise you, it's a lot faster than doing it in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's really quick. So
it's efficient. That's my people's.
Yeah, and they got global entry over there and all the little shortcuts are there. So it's like, make the best use of this as possible. If you're flying into Ireland, chances are you go through Dublin. Just as a heads up, you're going to think, wow, it's taking a long time to get through the process here.
Right.
It will pay off for you when you get back to the States.
It's really another thing that is like, makes it very tourist friendly and travel friendly for Americans. It's just another reason why you're like, well, I can go somewhere. It's post-COVID. Maybe I should find somewhere that's not too hard to get to, but not, just going down a couple of states. Like I want to go abroad. Go to Dublin. And it's just another selling point for like getting in and getting out.
Yeah, you're going to have fun there. And listen, look, we've been to Dublin multiple times.
Yeah.
We like Dublin.
Yeah.
We love the Rod to God, the Stiffy on the Liffy. We love all these things. But even so, as much as we're going to get along on a vacation, we're going to have a moment. We're going to bicker. We're going to disagree. Amazingly enough, sometimes we do get on each other's nerves. You'd be amazed. It is time now to salute some of our bestest buddies on this. Monica versus Joey, because this is the sort of stuff that we just got to go back to that good old series, friends. It's time for Monica and Joey. Here we go.
It's game on. It's time for Monica versus Joey.
Do you remember the episode of Friends where they went to London?
I love that episode.
They go to London,
because that's when Monica and Chandler get together for the first time.
Oh, spoiler alert. You just spoiled it for everybody who hasn't seen Friends. Everyone's seen Friends. It's on 10 years ago.
It's like literally a million years ago.
Everybody's seen this episode of Friends where they go and Joey does the correct thing where he goes to London, he goes to the souvenir shop, he buys the Union Jack, the British flag. He gets the hat, he gets the shirt, he gets everything that is UK synonymous. He buys it. He walks around proudly as a tourist. If I am Joey, that's what I'm doing it right now. I got little Irish green necklaces on because it's like, hey, you know what? You just want to have fun with it. I don't care about London. Hey, look at me. I got all these things. I'm going to wear a big green leprechaun hat and all that stuff. Monica would probably take a different tactic.
Yeah, I like to blend, especially with my peoples, because I'm like, look, I'm all about doing some touristy things, but I'm also like, let's reel it in just a little bit. And like, let's not be disrespectful. And also let's not stand out too much because I don't want any of the cops or like anybody going, oh, look at that. Let's look at them and like make sure they're not doing anything suspect or sus as the kids would call it today. And so it's like, I appreciate the things like the necklaces and the flags and the jackets and the Dr. Seuss type hats that have like, have like, leprechauns and stuff on them. I'm all about wearing the green. I celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but like, dude, I just kind of feel like, let's reel it in a little bit.
Never.
And like, let's just blend.
Never.
I just want to class it up a little bit more.
I want to have the big hat. I want to have the t-shirt on that says, kiss me, I'm Irish. And I'm just going to stroll through Temple Bar. By the way, I just happened to look this up while we were disagreeing. Yeah. Because sometimes you disagree with your spouse. You tune out a little bit because I certainly do.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Got out the laptop. Camogie is the name of the female hurling. We could not think. I said crokinole.
I know.
And it was like, no, it's not that. Camogie. Yes, that is the female Hurling, because that would drive me absolutely crazy if we didn't end the show. If we ended the show and didn't have that in there.
I thank you so much, because it's been on the back of my, like, I've literally been, it's rolling around in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
That I'm so unhappy that I couldn't think of that.
Yeah. Camogie and Hurling.
Camogie.
Yeah, Camogie. It's a sport.
Yeah.
So check that out over there as well. Okay. Now, as we're checking that out, are we friends again? Are we good?
Oh, I guess so. I mean, I walk on the opposite side of the street of you when you were dressed like that, but it's cool.
Yeah. Fine. Okay.
It's all good. No, you do you, boo-boo, because I'm doing me. And at the end of the day, I love how excited you get about stuff.
I get thrilled about stuff.
I know. It makes me happy.
Yeah. I'm just like a 5-year-old kid going, oh yeah, this is fun. It's a good time. Let's do it.
It's a good balance.
Darn right it is. So as we're doing these things, we have agreed though that there are a couple of things that you need to know before you go over to a place like Dublin. And of course, we call these travel nuggets.
Ooh, I like a good travel nugget.
2 nuggets. I'll let you take the first one, my sweet, because you've alluded to this in this program. We're talking about getting a feed, and this is actually a very cool subculture over there, which some people take part in and more people should.
Yeah. So there's a food truck sort of like movement over there. There's like, fresh food markets that are like vendors that are on the street, and they do like, your fresh fruits and vegetables. It's like, an open air market. And they kind of like, the big thing over there is that they kind of don't want the food trucks to do what the food trucks do, because they want all the people to come to them.
Right.
And so, but the food trucks are like mobile and cool, and they like do all kinds of different cuisines. Like one of them did like raclette. So you get that real raclette cheese.
Oh, that's right.
So you get like dishes with like potatoes and vegetables and meats with like cheese on it. There was another one that did pizza. There was a coffee one that did proper coffee and like, sort of like craft coffee and teas. And so anyway, this is the thing. Just Google food trucks Dublin and look at their Twitter feeds.
Yeah.
And that's how you know where they're going to be, because unless it has changed from when we were there a couple years ago, they're kind of they're operating with,
They're renegades.
They're renegades, and they're operating with like really high permit prices.
Right.
And they're like, paying for their permits, but it's kind of hard to run a food truck.
It is.
And they have to they have to jump through all these hoops to be able to operate and to be able to set up where they set up. And so just find some. They're on the internet and you can find them, go to their Twitter feed, see where they are. I highly recommend this, because some of these food trucks do just like really good artisan, like really good homemade stuff that you're not going to find in the restaurants over there. And so that's kind of cool.
So check out the food trucks. I mean, and that's something we can do in any town, but in Dublin, the food truck industry, it's actually very cool.
There's like a big, there's some places that are really well known for their food trucks. One place that's really big and well known for food trucks is Portland, Oregon. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, and there's, a few places like that, or places, around like that. Dublin isn't really known for that. And so this little like niche thing is kind of cool to check out.
Yeah. You see a food truck, go check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dublin has great stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do the other nugget.
For sure.
This nugget is brought to you by me, because as you're looking at me on our video stream here, you'll see that I haven't cut my hair in a year.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very hot.
Meow.
You look like a Viking.
Oh, thank you, dude.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I have this Nordic thing going on. I'm going for a Greek god. Anyway, here's what happens is that if you're a guy and you want to get a proper shave or a proper haircut or proper coiffing or something.
Not with the coiffing.
You can do this in Dublin. There are proper barber shops.
Yes.
And we've had people who have done this.
Chris Elkins again.
We
were just talking about this. He and I were talking, and he was like, I went and I got a shave and it was great.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome.
They will totally hook you up over there. And
they do the hot towel. They do something with stones. Like they do all kind of stuff. They like massage your face. They massage your jowls. And they do like all this stuff. Yeah. It's like really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I didn't do it. Next time, if I'm ever going to get my hair cut again, I probably will here in the future.
Don't touch your hair.
Oh, okay. I will never cut my hair. But if I ever need a trim or an adjustment or anything like that, I will go to these guys.
It's very cool.
Because these professional guys, you see people come out, it's like, oh, you guys look good.
Man, I'm going to say what?
What?
The Irish, my people be looking good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got to look good.
The Irish as a whole are a pretty attractive bunch.
That's what I'm talking
about.
There
you go. They do all right. Hey, before we wrap it up, as always, we have to give you just one little thing. We've done our voluminous internet research. We always go, there's something that always sticks out. We just look at it and go, Are you serious? Is this actually a thing?
What the holy guacamole are you talking about?
Time to go to Boston.
Boston.
Get some chowder.
Get some chowder.
Boston.
I got to park my car in the harbor and go to Boston and get some chowder.
So bad.
That was really bad and probably disrespectful, and I'm super sorry. But I do that because it is out of love. Mm-hmm. I actually love that accent. Yeah. It literally makes me happy when I hear people talk like that.
We love Boston. You have Logan Airport, which is a fantastic airport. You have some of the best best Sky Club lounge type things or whatever anywhere.
That was a really good lounge.
They do great stuff over there.
There's a Hilton in that airport.
That's right. Logan, great airport, really well done. But I'll say this, you get out there, your traffic is god awful.
It's so bad.
What? Oh, that's right. You guys predate. I mean, you're so old in this country. It's like we predated, building roads.
That's true.
It's like the roads are an afterthought. Oh, yeah, let's take a road. It's like, what are you kidding? Anyway, that's Boston. So we're going to talk like this, talk about your chowder.
Yeah.
Your cat. Turns out the Boston, they did something really cool over there. The Boston New England Aquarium just accepted a ticket. What happened is a gal named Rachel Carl. She had a ticket. Now, let's explain this ticket. She was going to go to the aquarium there, and she had in her possession what's called a late gate ticket.
Oh.
The late gate ticket was given to her aunt because her aunt tried to go there previously, and it was like, well, the aquarium's closed. You might not be a good use for it. She's like, okay, I'll just hold on to the ticket. There's no expiration date on the ticket. That's the key to the story.
Okay.
She gives it to her niece, Rachel Carl. Did I mention that the aunt went there in 1983? This is almost 40 years ago.
Oh my gosh, wait, what?
So
that's not like a week or a month before.
It's almost 40 years. So this aunt is like, hey, Rachel, are you going? See if this ticket works. There's no expiration date. The late gate ticket. Rachel goes up the ticket counter and goes, will you use this? And they said, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
That is cool. Good on you.
That's
the
classy.
Boston New England Aquarium. That is the coolest thing I've heard of. Because a lot of people be like, no, that's old. That's an old paper ticket. They're like, no, we'll totally accept that. We sold it to you.
That's class act
That
right
is
there.
Very nice of them.
Yeah.
Apparently they discontinued this ticket practice about 25 years ago, but about once a year, someone still shows up with a vintage paper ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And they are always honored every single time. The ticket now hangs in the aquarium's ticket booth as a memento.
That is so cool.
Isn't that nice?
I love that this is the guacamole because I literally am like, that would never be. I don't believe it. Yeah. But I do because, especially if they're like commemorating.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And they're like, we've been open all this time and we will still, like, yeah, come on in.
Very nice of them.
Oh.
So isn't that nice? And so Rachel Carl got in. So hopefully she went out and got her aunt a sandwich or something like that later on. Said, yeah, that's all cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, we just want to end you with a happy guacamole.
Yay.
And that is how we're wrapping up part 4 of our 4-part series on the Emerald Isle.
I'm downright fluttered. I'm just, that's going to knock me on my arse. Ooh, that was a big whole 4 parts of a series.
It's 4-part series. And tell you what, as we're going to the next month, we promise the next episode or 2 that we're going to do are going to be closer to home. We're not going to give you any spoilers beyond that, but we're going to leave Ireland for a wee bit. We've given them 4 episodes this time.
I could never leave. It's a part of me.
There you go. Anyway, hey, thanks for checking out Voca Vacay. As always, go to the mothership of vocavacay.com.
Yeah.
You can find us on all the social media.
The tweeters, because
we have tweets there and the Instagrams.
The Instagrams, the Book of Faces, the tubes.
The YouTubes.
We're on the things.
We're totally there.
We're on the socials.
And as always, hey, remember, we want you to go out and live vicariously through yourself.
And vacation like it's your job.
Darn right. So we're going to see you in a fortnight. That's way over there.
That's Frank.
And remember, have some fun out there. Go out there. It's post-COVID. Go out there, start traveling, open up the world once again.
Love ya.
Miss ya.
Mean it.
Bye.
Don't forget to click subscribe. As always, hashtag Voca Vacay at Voca Vacay and visit vocavacay.com.